Dear children, I welcome you all for the second module of the chapter Heredity and Evolution from Science and Technology Part 2. In this module, we will be learning about evolution, theory of evolution, Darwin's theory of natural selection, Lamarckism and speciation. Children, let us recollect our previous module first. We have learned that heredity is the transfer of biological characters from one generation to another via genes. Information about protein synthesis is stored in the DNA. These proteins are synthesized by DNA through RNA, and this process is called as central dogma. The sequence of nucleotides in the mRNA is always complementary to the DNA strand. This process of RNA synthesis is called as transcription. This process of transcription happens in the nucleus of the cell. The translation is a process of translating the sequence of DNA that is there in the mRNA now to a sequence of amino acid during protein synthesis. During translation, the ribosome keeps on moving from one end of mRNA to other end by the distance of one triplet codon at a time. This is called translocation. The processes of translation and translocation happens in the cytoplasm of the cell. So after the protein chain, amino acid chain forms, the many chains come together to form complex protein. If you see, sometimes any nucleotide of the gene changes its position. So this causes a change. So that change is called as mutation. Let us proceed with the chapter. Children, can you tell what is the function of appendix in our digestive system? So it is believed that the appendix is just a useless remnant from our evolutionary past. Some claim that appendix store good microorganisms, but there is no proof. Are our wisdom teeth really useful for chewing the food? So wisdom teeth were necessary for earlier humans to chew and eat. So over the time, the types of food we eat have changed. So they are no longer necessary. Why did the huge animals like dinosaurs become extinct? We know that there was a big meteorite crashed into Earth. This crash changed the climatic conditions so dramatically that dinosaurs could not survive. So dinosaurs became extinct because of the extreme climate. Ash and gas spewing up from volcanoes suffocated many of the dinosaurs. So as such, the fire didn't kill them, but the climate gradually made the dinosaurs become extinct. After that, the diseases spread and the food chain imbalances wiped out the entire population of dinosaurs. Why are many species of animals and birds getting extinct? So, habitat destruction is the main cause of modern extinction. Along with that, pollution, introduction of new species, hunting all account for extinction of birds and animals. Now let us learn what is meant by evolution. Evolution is a gradual change occurring in the living organisms over a long duration. It is a very slow process that happens over years together. The changes occurred from stars and planets in space to the biosphere present on the earth. All are included in the study of evolution, right from the birth of a star of our solar system to earth and the present scenario. Everything included in the evolution. Formation of new species due to changes in specific characters of several generations of living organisms as a response to natural selection is called as evolution. We will say everything in detail in the coming slide. So we can take that evolution is formation of new species due to changes in characters. If you see, about 3.5 billion years ago, Life is not possible on Earth. If you see Earth just look like a ball of fire. So this all are lava. So this lava emitted smoke and the smoke consequently formed dense clouds. So due to many chemical changes, the clouds started bursting and rain started to form. So the rain slowly tried to cool the surface of the crust. So over millions of years, the rain was there, which eventually cooled the earth's surface. So at the beginning, there have been only simple elements in the ocean on the earth, and simple type of organic and inorganic compounds may have been formed from those elements. If you see complex compounds like proteins, nucleic acids, they may have formed over long period from those simple compounds. So first primitive type of cells may have been formed from the mixture of different type of organic and inorganic. We know that once nucleic acid formed, they are the one that controls the functions of a cell. So slowly from these organic and inorganic compounds, primitive type of cells have come to existence. Then after that, those cells have increased because there are a lot of chemicals surrounding them. So the number of cells started increasing. There may had been some differences among those cells, and according to the principle of natural selection, we will learn what is meant by natural selection. Some may have shown good growth and some may have perished, which can't adjust with the surrounding. So those who are adaptable to the environment survived and the others perished. We know how beautiful our earth is now. At present, we have crores of species of plants and animals with huge diversity regarding shape and complexity are present in earth. If you see animal diversity ranges from unicellular amoeba and paramecium to man and giant whale. If you see the plant diversity consists of various species ranging from unicellular chlorella, we know that, to huge banyan tree. We know that life exists on earth everywhere from equator to both the poles. And there are organisms present at all places like air, water, land, rock. That is, you see life in the biosphere. At every corner of the biosphere, we can see life is surviving. Different theories about origin and evolution of life have been proposed. So many theories about how life came into existence is proposed. But today, the theory of gradual development of living organism is widely accepted one. Let us learn the theory of evolution now. So according to this theory, the first living material, that is protoplasm, has been formed in ocean. Obviously, life originated in water. So in due course of time, unicellular organisms were formed. So due to the living material, interaction of the living material gave rise to unicellular organisms. So, but gradually changes occurred in the unicellular organisms. It started to adapt more and more to the environment. There was more interaction between the cell. So, the unicellular organism became multicellular organism. So, you see all those changes were very, very slow and it took almost 300 years. So, changes and development in living organisms, if you see, the changes and development have been multidimensional in every part of the cell, and this led to the evolution of different type of organisms. There is a progressive development of plants and animals. Even now, this change is going on. The development of plants and animals are progressive from the ancestors and having different structural and functional organization. And this process is called as evolution, that is gradual development of plants and animals according to the environment and adjustment to the environment through natural selection, is called as evolution. Let us have a small peek into the history, what people thought about evolution. There are many philosophers and high and religious scholars. They have written their views about formation of life. There seemed to be thorough discussion over the formation of universe in various cultures in the olden time. Not only ours, in Chinese, Roman, Greek culture, etc. There have been a thorough discussion about the formation of universe. Various cultures have noted different type of information about planets, stars and Panchamahabhuta, living organisms, etc. in the form of poetry, stories and religious or sacred books. Man is always curious about to know how life came into existence. Of course, we all are. Now let us learn scientifically how the theory of evolution is proposed and accepted. First comes Darwin's theory of natural selection. Who is Darwin? Charles Robert Darwin was an English naturalist. He is a geologist and biologist. He is much known for his contribution for the science of evolution. He proposed a theory that all species of life have descended over time from common ancestor. He told that you take any life form. The life form have descended over time and they have common ancestors. So he had collected innumerable specimens of plants and animals and started observing them. So based on the observation, he published the theory of natural selection, which preaches the survival of fittest. What is survival of the fittest? The one that is adaptable to the change and compete with the other living organism will survive where the others cannot survive. That is survival of fittest. Darwin had published a book titled Origin of Species, How Species Came into Existence. This was a very famous book. Till now this is very famous. In this book he says that all the organisms reproduce prolifically, means abundantly. They reproduce abundantly. They reproduce in more number for survival. As well as the organisms, they compete with each other in a life-threatening manner. Means that if a need arises, an organism do not hesitate to kill others also. In this competition, only those organisms sustain. Which organisms will sustain? Which show modifications essential for winning the competition. Here the competition is not just fighting, it is survival. Those organisms that can adapt successfully to the changing environment or with the environment present, they can sustain. So natural selection, if you see, it also plays very important role because nature selects only those organisms which are fit to live and the rest perish. Sustaining unselected organisms, they can perform reproduction and give rise to new species with their own specific characters. If you look at this picture, we have two rabbits. One is a snow rabbit. You can see it can very well camouflage with the surrounding, where the brown one, it is deliberate. The presence of the rabbit is deliberate. If there is a natural predator in this area, this brown rabbit can be easily spotted than this white one. So this is adaptation and natural selection. So this rabbit cannot survive for a long time, where the white rabbit can survive. This is the species that is fit for survival. Darwin's theory of natural selection was widely accepted for long duration. Here is another example for survival of the fittest. Take for example, there is a population of mice. They moved to a new area where the rocks are very dark. But due to genetic variation, some mice develop a dark color, black color, where others are tan, that is brown color. So what happened to a natural predator? The mice that are brown are easily visible. So they are eaten at high frequency than the black mice. Only the surviving mice reach reproductive age and leave the offspring. So what happens? Naturally, the tan mice that will easily located by the predator are eaten up faster and reduce in population, where the black mice manage to survive and reproduce. So the mice reproduce, giving next generation. As black mice had a higher chance of leaving offspring than the tan mice, the next generation contains high fraction of black mice than the previous generation. Obviously, after some period of time, we can assume that the tan mice are no longer existent or they perish from this natural surrounding. So this is how evolution and the species continue to survive over a long time. Though Darwin's theory is highly accepted, there were some objections. He failed to say natural selection is not the only factor responsible for evolution. He did not mention any explanation about useful and unuseful modifications seen in living organisms, and there is no explanation about why there are slow changes in some part of the living organism and why there are abrupt changes, there are complete changes. So he failed to explain these points. The next theory we are going to learn is about Lamarckism. Jean-Baptiste Lamarck, often simply known as Lamarck, he was a French naturalist. He was a soldier, a biologist and an academic, and an early proponent of the idea that biological evolution occurred and proceeded in accordance with natural laws. What did he say? He proposed that activities of the organisms are responsible for their evolution. If an organism is evolving, it is its activity that leads to an evolution. That is his proposal. He proposed that each animal or plant undergoes some changes in its lifetime, and these changes are transferred to the next generation. And such changes occur in subsequent generation too will be transferred further. This is his proposal. He proposed that morphological changes occurring in living organisms are responsible for evolution. Morphological changes mean physical changes. The reason behind those changes is the activities or laziness of that organism. He called this concept as principle of use or disuse of organs. The living organism can transfer the characters that it acquired new to the next generation. This is called ancestry of acquired characteristics. Let us see some examples of acquired characteristics. He said that the neck of giraffe has become too long due to browsing on leaves of tall plants by extending their neck for several generations. So initially the giraffe's neck was not that long. So due to search in food, eventually the neck became longer and that character passed on through generations. If you see the shoulders of Iron Smith, it will become very strong due to frequent hammering movements. Then if you see the wings of birds like ostrich and emu, they have become weak due to no use. You can see the wings are present, but they are definitely not used for flying these birds. Then if you note the legs of the birds like swan and duck, they are useful for swimming because they live in water also. So the legs have been modified to enable swimming in the water. Then we know that snakes, they lost their leg because they have stopped burrowing. So that modification led to loss of their leg. They just slither. These acquired characteristics are transferred from one to another generation, and this is called as theory of inheritance of acquired characteristics, or simply called as Lamarckism. Development of organs due to specific activities or their degeneration due to no use at all. This was widely accepted, but this transfer from generation to generation was rejected because it has been verified many times that modifications brought in are not transferred to next generation. So Lamarck's theory was disproved. The living organism can transfer the characters which it has acquired to next generation, but this theory is called as ancestry of acquired characteristics. Now we will know about speciation. Formation of new species of plants and animals is the effect of evolution. So species is a group of organisms that can produce fertile individuals through natural reproduction. Each species grows in specific geographical location. We know that every species is native to a particular geographical location. We know various examples. Their food, habitat, reproductive ability and the reproductive period is different for different species. Genetic variation is responsible for the formation of new species from the earlier one. How there is a formation of new species from the earlier one? It is due to genetic variation. Besides, geographical and reproductive changes are also responsible for the emergence of new species. How this helps? Take for example, there is a bit of land and due to changes in the movement in the tectonic plate, we know that mountains do emerge and they become plateaus. So many things happened over millions of years. So in due course of time, let us imagine there was a mountain formed in the middle of the region. So this separates the geographical location of the earlier species. So what happens? According to the new climate formed, new geographical location, they develop different modifications in their original characteristics. So over millions of years, what happens? They emerge as different species. Otherwise, if there is no geographical barrier, there is no geographical isolation, let us see, there will be reproductive isolation, because what happens? The old species start showing modification according to the surrounding. We can say it starts adapting more and more to the surrounding and starts changing slightly. Though the changes are very slight, over the year it becomes strong and gives rise to new species of living organisms. So because due to geographical isolation and reproductive isolation, it gives rise to new species. Take for another example, if you take pork fish, there are two varieties of pork fish found in the Pacific Ocean. One is on the either side of the Panama Canal, because the Panama arose only 3.5 million years ago. The pork fish that stopped migration from one side to the other side. So if you see one side, the species of pork fish is different, where the other side you can see it is available with various colors and stripes. So geographical isolation gave rise to two different species. So geographical or reproductive isolation also leads to formation of new species, or otherwise called as speciation. So today we have learned so many things. Let us summarize the points from the beginning. Evolution is the gradual change occurring in living organisms over a long duration. This is a very slow going process through which development of organisms is achieved. Theory of evolution states that progressive development of plants and animals from the ancestors having different structural and functional organization is called as evolution. Charles Darwin proposed the theory of evolution. He showed that all the species of living organisms have been gradually evolved over the period of thousands of years from a common ancestor. He also proposed that principle of natural selection is responsible for this evolution. Lamarck proposed that morphological changes occurring in living organisms are responsible evolution, and the reason behind those morphological changes is activities or laziness of the organism. He called this concept as principle of use or disuse of organs. Species is the group of organisms that can produce fertile individuals through natural reproduction. Geographical or reproductive isolation also leads to speciation. Hope you have enjoyed the module, children. There are so many interesting facts in the coming module. Till then, thank you.